Suite 303. I'm your host, Jay Stoyan. We're very excited today on our high-profile show as we have U.S. Army Sergeant Dan White on the show. So Dan is a triple threat. Dan is a musician, Dan's a veteran, and Dan's disabled. We're really excited to welcome Dan. So stay tuned. You're watching Suite 303. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Dan, thanks for being on the show today. Very much appreciated.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I love your setup. Let's see your shirt. Let's see that shirt.
Pink Floyd.
Nice. I love it. And I love the star in the background. Obviously, you're from Texas.
Yeah, Texas and the American flag.
That's great, buddy. So what's it like? What's happening right now in Texas? What's the weather like down there?
Hot,
yeah?
Yeah, we're already in the triple digits. It's not even the middle of summer yet.
I know America's been, and same up here, we've been hit by a few tornadoes. And have you guys gotten any down there yet or not as of yet?
We just got a little bit of the rain from that tropical storm, Albert, that came through the Gulf of Mexico last week. But nothing severe here, but some other places got hit with some tornadoes.
Well, we love the big state of Texas. So let's get right into it. So again, we're talking to musician / veteran U.S. Army Sergeant Dan Wesley White. He's also out there right now in the music world. We're connecting him with veterans across U.S. and Canada, along with musical platforms. So Dan, let's get right into it. And I really appreciate you sharing that you are disabled, because I know some people, they just don't like to, they don't like to bring it up. They don't like to talk about it for whatever reason. And I totally respect that as a person with an internal illness. I get that. But I really appreciate the people that do share, because people are watching right now. We're on live restream on our Facebook page. So I would love for people to comment. We will interact. We have our producer and our social media people standing by. So Dan, can you tell us a little bit about your disability, what it is, how how it occurred, and then we'll just go from there, please.
Well, basically in the military, you run a lot, you do a lot of exercise and stuff. And over the time I was in, they don't really measure, or at least when I went in, they didn't really measure your feet too much. So I had boots and stuff that were smaller than they were supposed to be. So it kind of made my feet grow a different way. So I've got a lot of feet, knee, and ankle problems.
Wow. And so, and how long did that take to occur? Over a few years, like 5 years or something like that? Or
it happened probably about 3 or 4 years into my term.
And are you diagnosed with anything, or you're just feeling a little disabled because your feet are killing you? Or did you actually go to get, sort of diagnosed or stuff like that?
No, I have plantar fasciitis and also another one of the feet. Then I've got bad knees, and basically because of it's a daisy chain. When the feet go bad, then they affect the knees because of things. And then when the knees get involved, then it affects the hips and the lower back. And so it's basically all my lower skeletal issues because of the stuff I did in the Army.
That's so kind of funny not funny, but funny that you mentioned it, because a friend of mine right now just received a knee replacement.
Mm-hmm.
And she was telling me the same thing, that it just affects, because you try and compensate, and it just affects. And right now she's really feeling it in her back. So I totally understand what you're saying. Now, what did the VA or what did they say about that? Did they help you? What did they say?
Well, it was kind of an uphill battle, trying to get these things to show, hey, look, it's because of what happened while I was in the service that caused all these other issues. And so it's taken me about 20 years now to finally get the VA to recognize all these different skeletal problems I have. And it goes back to my time in.
And they do? Like, are they on board? Oh, that's good.
Yeah, finally last year they awarded me the percentage I needed. And so now I'm getting looked at everything.
Well, that's very important. Like, I thank you for sharing that, because I bet you there's a lot of veterans that are watching right now that are going through the same sort of situation. They're going, my goodness, like, I'm injured, I'm disabled, I'm, I need support. And they're probably, and I know we hear it all the time, like, because what veterans tell me is, you got to go over here, and then you got to go over there, and then
Mhm.
you got to go back to there and over. And by the time they just get fed up and just like, oh my God, I can't do it. So here at the channel, we're trying to help that mechanism to streamline it to get good results. So
Right.
thank you for sharing it. And I would love, so are you, now, would that be the VA in Texas that helps you, or is
Well,
that,
each state has their own VA chapter, but it's
yeah.
all controlled by the U.S. Veteran Affairs Commission.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's kind of like our programs, right? That sort of goes in tune with our programs. It would be great. I'm going to sort of off the air. We'll connect more. I would love to connect with the higher ups in Texas, because we have connected with the Pentagon, right? So we
Mhm.
are in talks with the Pentagon regarding our programs, but the more we get it from the men and women who served on the ground to say, hey, you know what, these guys are doing a good thing, because we can also support you with health issues. I don't mean like doctor issues, but we can, help you, connect you with the proper people that you need to connect with, and at the same time, give you a new purpose in life, would be a job in the media. So that's great. Now, and how do you deal with it today? How does it affect your day to day life today, Dan?
Well, because of the whole leg and knee and ankle issue, it was hard to do any kind of exercise or anything. So I've gained a lot of weight over the last 15 years, where I was up over 500 pounds for a while. Uh,
Wow, really?
yeah,
How tall are you?
6'2".
But 500 pounds to 6'2" is still pretty heavy.
Right.
I mean, you must have lost a ton of weight.
I had bariatric surgery last
Okay.
October, and so I'm down
Okay.
about 150 pounds now.
Now, are you doing any type of like minor exercise? Can you do anything to sort of keep the weight off, or besides
Well,
dieting?
I'm trying to start walking more, trying to
Yeah.
ease out the joints as well as get some cardio going.
I wonder if you could do exercises that wouldn't be related to cardio, like for instance, lying on your back and leg raises. I wonder, like stuff like that, because obviously you don't want to hurt your knees, right?
Right.
Stuff like that.
Hmm.
I wonder if that would help at all. Because I'm an avid fitness guy myself, so I know, and I have my own issues. So you got to be flexible and innovative, right?
Hmm.
And how about your?
Plus,
Sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, plus I have a pool, so I do some pool stuff also.
Oh, that's a great exercise,
Yeah.
especially for your joints too, right?
Right, because it takes all the impact off of them.
Wow. So you're a swimmer, so you're like Michael Phelps.
Yeah, not even. More of a
What-
floater than a swimmer.
so let's well, that's okay. Hey, nothing wrong with floating in the water, right? You got your drink there, you got your raft. Perfect. That's good. That's, hey, do you do any laps? Are you a lap? Do you do a lap guy or no? Try to do
Well,
some
I've got
laps.
kind of a small pool, so it's hard to do laps, but I just kind of swim around the perimeter and stuff.
That's good. So let's move it along. Let's talk a little bit about your career in the service. And I'd love for you to share, I don't know, like how you got into the service, sort of the journey, and then how you got out a little bit. Maybe give us an overview of your life in the military.
Okay. Well, I joined when I was 17. I was still in high school when I joined up. Just got to the point where I knew I wasn't going to get out of the town unless I did something about it. So during high school, I went to once a weekend for a year. So one weekend a month. National Guard is what we call it here in the
Okay.
States. And I liked it. I went to basic training basically 3 days after I graduated high school. So that was an eye opener. Didn't really have any time to do anything. And then I liked it a lot. So I went ahead and went back active duty a year later.
Wow. Now, did you ever think while you were joining up, like I could get killed? Like
Oh,
I could
yeah.
like
Everybody that joins up knows that's always a byproduct if something happens. But
And how did that make you feel? Like, I don't know, like that scare you? That won't happen. That's like, nah. Like, what were your thoughts about that? Like, oh my God, I might get injured or worse.
um, you really don't think about it too much, I guess, until maybe the fit hits the shan.
Yeah, I get. Then it's a little too late, I guess.
Right.
So tell me your first deployment. Where were you first deployed? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so tell our viewers like that. Like, I don't. I'm not saying combat. Just where did you go after you finished your basic training?
My first duty station, I went to the School of Music up in Virginia, on Norfolk, Virginia, and it's actually a Navy base, but they have Army, Marines, and Navy musicians all assigned together. So I was there for about 6.5 months, and then my first duty station was at Fort Sam in San Antonio, Fort Sam, Houston.
Wow. Why don't we hold that thought? Let's take a quick break. And while we take a break, we're going to listen to some of Dan's music. Now, this is going to be in the edited version because obviously this is live right now, but we're going to listen to one of Dan's songs and we'll come back. You're watching Suite 303. I'm Jay Stoyan. Welcome back. Now we were talking. All of a sudden, now you just added a music element to your first deployment. So tell our viewers again where you were first deployed, and then I'm going to jump into the music, and we'll mix in Army and music.
Okay. My first duty assignment after the School of Music was at the Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas.
Now, how did you connect with the military and music? Like, was that your sort of goal or angle or fallback option sort of thing?
Well, I still had to audition just like any musician does. So you have to know scales, you have to know theory, a bunch of music stuff. And luckily, I was able to do it right out of high school. I didn't have any kind of college degree or anything. I did it from just everything I knew in high school.
So did that mean you were accepted into the band of the military, or
Right.
what happened? Yeah, that's what happened, right?
hmm
And what
Yeah.
instrument?
Bass guitar.
Basic guitar. So
Mhm.
delete not yeah, just okay. So take us through a little bit of the band practice. So now you're on the team. Now you're a member of the military band. Take us through like a sort of day-to-day operation of what you guys would do, mixing music and military.
hmm Well, we still, our main mission is still, besides music, is a lot of people think, oh, the band just plays, but the band's secondary mission is actually MP work. Just like the MPs, we provide what we call the TOC defense, where we're the guards for like the general area, where all the generals and all the high officers come in and out and do all their planning. So that's basically any of the bandmen's their second job in the military is to be MPs, and so they guard all
Oh,
that stuff.
so are MPs like the guys that you see with the bands on their arms?
In the old days,
The
yes.
old days, right? In the
Yeah.
old days, right?
hmm
Really? That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's very interesting. Wow. And was it I mean, obviously you made the team, so it couldn't have been that hard for you because you made the team, right?
It just depends if you pass the audition to become in the military band. But you still have to do all your soldier work just like any other soldier does. You still got to qualify on grenades. You got to qualify for rifle. You got to do your NBC, nuclear biological hazard masks, all that stuff, all the mop suits, as we call it, where you get in the outfit with the mask on in case there's ever an environment you can't breathe in, that kind of stuff.
So you do
So
kind of double duty a little bit. You're a band member and you're a soldier. So wow, your plate must have been pretty full.
Oh yeah. So we would have army training and then we'd have music training. That's our basic days each day.
Every day.
Right.
Every day. So tell me regarding the band now. So after, I mean, like you say, you practice every day, and tell us some of the type of events that you guys are featured at, or because I'm sure it's very inspirational too, right?
hmm
I can
Uh,
see that.
a lot of the times it would be what we call COCs or change of commands, like when some officer is leaving and the new officer is taking his place. So they get all the troops on a big parade field and the band plays music in the background while all the troops do what we call a pass and review. And that's where all the troops walk in front of the new people and give them their eyes right and salute them and stuff. And then they keep going, like you see it in some of the movies and things. That's pretty much what I would say 50% of our time is doing military type ceremonies. And then
Okay.
the rest is community relations. We'd go out and play in the public, go to high schools or elementary schools, middle schools, play, just show them what the band's like, what kind of music we can play. And that's pretty much it.
How many members in the band?
When I was in, we had about 45 to 50 members in. Now they've kind of shrunk it down even more for budget cuts and things like that.
But and there's probably a vast array of instruments, right, on the team.
Right. Now they make them by groups. They have like a rock group, they have like a country group, they have a salsa group. So it just depends on what's kind of popular in that band's area, and that's what they'll make a group for.
Would you guys compete against other bases at all ever?
Not compete per se, but we would do sometimes joint exercises where another band would come in and we'd have like a big concert. Sometimes we would also partner with San Antonio has an Air Force band and an Army band, and we'd put on a big like military concert for Memorial Day and stuff like that.
Did they ever get you guys to come out to sporting events? You know, the way they always have the military at halftime or to start the game off or something like that.
When I was there the first time, we actually played for one of the World Cup games back in the
Really?
early 90s when it was here in the States.
That's great. Wow, this is
Mhm.
very interesting. I'm learning a lot that I wouldn't know at all since I'm a civilian. This is inside baseball to me. So stay tuned because when we come back, I want to flip it again, and then we're going to talk about your music. Okay.
Okay.
On the show today, we have Army Sergeant, U.S. Army Sergeant, and musician and disabled veteran Dan White. So stay tuned. We'll be right back to Sweet Freely.
Friends, it's an absolute pleasure to send greetings as you gather for this fantastic fundraiser in support of the Disability Channel and Legion 60. Thanks to everyone involved for the important work you do for our veterans and people with disabilities. You're supporting them as they gain valuable work experience and helping build a stronger Ontario for everyone. You're all absolute champions. Your generosity is greatly appreciated, and I hope you have a fantastic event.
Hi, this is Doug Smith, and you're watching the Disability Channel showcasing abilities.
On the show today, we have veteran Dan White. He's telling us about his career in the military. He's also a band leader at a high school, just telling us about his day-to-day operations of being in a band and being in the military. Now I want to flip it and talk about his music career. So Dan, give us an overview of, I guess, how long you've been in music, what some of your inspirations are, and some of your goals.
Well, I've actually been in music since as far as I can remember. My dad was a Baptist preacher, so I grew up singing in the church choir, that kind of thing. And as I got older, I wanted to learn how to start playing instruments. So fourth grade, I started learning how to play the trumpet and the tuba and stuff. And then when I got into high school, they had an opening in their jazz band, and that's when I was exposed to the bass guitar. And being I played tuba, it's the same register, it's bass clef music, so it was easy for me to make all I had to learn was the finger part. And then because I like playing music so much, that's when I auditioned for the Army band and went into the military band.
That probably gave you a lot of great experience, eh?
hmm
Like doing that, look at it. Probably, obviously, it's very structured. Like you guys said, you practice every day, and you got to be good enough to stay on a team. So So I guess when you left the military, did it help you, give you a lot of structure, give you a lot of discipline and a lot of experience? Tell us about that, how you felt about that.
Oh yeah, you get a lot of discipline being in the military because if you get in trouble, it's a lot bigger strike against you than a civilian market. But yeah, I liked music so much that I decided when I got out to go ahead and go back and get my bachelor's of music degree. And so I did that, luckily using the VA my GI Bill stuff, and it helped me pay for my college. And I was able to get my degree, and then I applied down here in Del Rio, and I've been here for going on 19 years now as a band director.
And I know you have quite the library of songs. Like, how many songs have you written? And tell our viewers the genre too. I know the genre, but I want you to share it with our people.
It's more of a country southern rock type style that I'm breaking into right now, and I've got 7 singles online at the moment, and I'm working on my 8th.
And then tell us the latest single. It was the one on your bicycle.
That was the 80s Child, and that's kind of an homage to the Gen X people like me, that we grew up doing everything outside, and now we look at our kids nowadays, they don't even want to get out of their room because they're tied to all their technology.
Yeah, I know. So sad, isn't it? So tell us, where do you get your inspirations, and can you tell us a little bit of song formula without giving away the recipe?
As far as I'm sorry, say it again.
So tell me your inspiration and a little bit of your song formula without giving away the recipe.
Basically, I just write what I feel. A lot of the songs basically all the songs I've got out there are kind of from a personal standpoint. Especially the new one that I'm working on now is going to be, basically I'm dedicating it to my sons and being a father, that kind of thing. So I'm hoping to get in the studio by this month or next month and start recording it.
What is your recipe for putting the pen to the paper at the start? Like, how do you, without giving it away, how do you create that first line?
I basically kind of think of an idea first, a theme, and then I start kind of playing around with words. I'm a rhyme scheme person. I try to make sure the words mean and rhyme at the same time. I don't make up words like a lot of genres do nowadays to make something rhyme. And then I'll start kind of getting an idea of how I want the melody to sound. So I do both at the same time. I write words and I try to think of the music in my head and how do the words fit into that music idea I have.
So do you try and write a song around a rhyme, if you will? So
right.
Right around
yeah.
It. Now, when you're writing that song, tell me, how many lines would you write before the rhyme comes in? Like, do you have to rhyme on every line, every second line, or every third line? Do you have a formula like that?
Not really a formula. It's just whatever I can do to make the storytelling happen. So I used to, when I was younger, I wanted to be a writer. So I'm kind of drawing all my influences together. Country music, the old country music, was all about storytelling.
That's right.
Which is what a lot of nowadays country, the pop country, it doesn't have. And so I'm going back to my storytelling days of trying to think of a theme, get it out there, but just set it to music. That's the way I basically do it.
And a couple of your inspirations?
Well, like the political divide that's in America right now, the first single I wrote, that was my song, what I like to call my bitchin' song.
That's good.
And so that was the first one I released 2 years ago, called Politically Incorrect. And then one of the other songs I wrote is a dedication to the Border Patrol, because down here on the Mexico border every day I see what they go through. Yeah. And a lot of people are blaming them for the mess, but it's really not the guys on the ground's fault. It's the politicians in charge of them. And so that was my way of kind of dedicating to them. Hey, the people see what's going on. We feel for you. It's not your fault.
Well, that's a heavy issue. That's for sure.
Right.
For sure. So why don't we take one more break, and when we come back, we're going to let people know that Dan's a part of Big Records. Talk a little bit about Big Records. Mark's a great guy. And I'm going to, people want to get in touch with you, Dan. So stay tuned. You're watching Sweet 303. On the show today, we have U.S. veteran Dan White. We'll be right back.
Would you like to donate to our employment programs? Please follow the link below to donate through PayPal. All proceeds go to our programs.
Hi, this is Rocky Blyer, and you're watching the Disability Channel showcasing abilities.
Welcome back. So let's finish it off like this, Dan. Tell us a few words about Big Records and Mark and what they've done for you.
Well, I heard about them through Michael Bate. He's another member of our crew, and I wasn't really getting a lot of what I wanted here locally, so I decided, hey, why not take a chance? I heard some good things about Mark, and so I went ahead and contacted him and signed up for their label. And ever since then, it's been really good. They like to take care of their musicians and things like that. That we have weekly meetings. New ideas, what's coming down the line. I'm one of those people, especially from my military background, I like to always be informed. Communication is your key to life, going and coming. And so they do that really well. They keep us informed of things going on or sponsorships, things like that. So
That's great.
it's doing really good.
Well, that's great. I know because I'm in touch with Mark all the time, and I know he really cares about his musicians. So I really appreciate you being on the show today, Dan. If people want to find out more information about you and your music, could they go somewhere, Facebook page, anywhere like that?
I do have a website, danwesleywhite.com. And then you can also reach me at Dan Wesley White on Facebook. That's my profile page.
That's great. And you can also find Dan on our Facebook page. You can find him on our Instagram, our Twitter page, our LinkedIn, YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube. We have over 3,000 YouTube subscribers going on 4, and we are very active. So, Dan, I really appreciate you being on the show today. We're going to leave the show with some sweet music from Dan White again. We love his music. So, again, get in touch with Dan. He's all over our Facebook page, all over Twitter, his page, his website. Dan, really appreciate it. Thank you for your service, sir. Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. I want to thank all of our veterans out there. Our Facebook page is blowing up. Until next time, you're watching Street 303. I'm Jay Stoyan.